Yo, Sanju Che here, people, and today I'm bringing you a Dragon Ball Super news segment where we'll basically be talking about the future of Dragon Ball Super in 2018. So be sure to rate, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications. But without further ado, let's get into it. So a recent interview which Herms pointed out on his page as well, which I believe he did do some translation notes here as well, and it's covered on Kanzenshu as well, where we'll be going over to. But essentially, it involved the a previous director of the Dragon Ball Super anime at Toei and a current producer, Himatoshi Chioka and Hiroyuki Sakurada, if I'm pronouncing those right, hopefully. So there's that. And honestly, we got some interesting tidbits in this interview here. I'm not gonna lie. So let's get right into it. So as I'll link this interview so you can read for yourself. But basically, they were saying that okay, so apparently there was a Salon Del Manga Convention in Barcelona, um, and the fan base on the site Mission Tokyo, they basically posted a Q&A of an interview with the producer and ex-director of Dragon Ball Super. So some interesting, they go over a lot of interesting tidbits like what makes the show, what other factors that really help to push the show forward and ensure that sponsors keep supporting it, the production and all of that. But let's go in, give my opinion here. So they talk about like how in Japan ratings and merchandise sales are the two crucial factors that really help to determine if the show's sponsors continue to support and by extension if the show goes on. Now, I believe the 1 hour special got some low ratings a few weeks back, but that's only one aspect of it. So merchandise is still gonna sell, and I would assume that when that Ultra Instinct Omen action figure and games and all of that for Goku comes out, people are gonna buy. So that's the thing. And they make a comparison to Dragon Ball Z Kai where in Japan the ratings were good but the merchandise wasn't all that. So there was that as well. No, I think one of the first real interesting tidbits as it relates to Dragon Ball Super is that they mentioned that they're not sure when and how Dragon Ball Super is going to link up with the end of Z, where we saw Oob fight Goku, because apparently Toriyama hasn't decided how to end Super just yet, which is a good thing, which indicates that Super will be going on for a while longer, to say the least, which they do actually cover in this interview here. But I mean, like, I'm going through piece by piece here, kind of give my opinions, kind of summarizing. But they basically ask about the movie as well, which if you watch my video, and I mean, if you've been following anything in this fan base, the fandom in general, or just the Dragon Ball community rather, sorry, you would have known that Toei registered Dragon Ball 2018.com, I believe that's the domain name. And a lot of us went on to speculate that there might be a new Dragon Ball movie, hence why they're asking it. The interviewers are actually asking this in the interview here. And they basically go on to say that it's not confirmed. Nothing's been confirmed about the movie, but we'll be getting some important information next month, the end of the year. So there's that. So they don't even really give a straightforward answer based on what we were getting in this interview here. So there's that. Um, if you remember last year, December is when we actually got the announcement for the Dragon Ball Super Tournament of Power, the Universe Survival arc. So I guess it does fall in line for them to actually give us some important information next month. So there's that. They also made reference to Dragon Ball GT and how Toei actually decided to do that, which went beyond Toriyama's original vision for the Dragon Ball story. And essentially, them asking this was more or less like them trying to put things in perspective to say if Toriyama say, "Oh, Super's ending, where does Toei go from there?" But they didn't really like specifically answer if they'd be able to do that. But they did mention that Toriyama basically has a lot more ideas in terms of the overall Dragon Ball story, so they can look forward to it at that point. And one of the most important things in this interview is that we got confirmation that the universe of art, the tournament of power, will go on up until March of next year. So that is an interesting tidbit there. I'm not gonna lie. It's I mean, going by this whole 1 minute per episode thing, it's pretty ridiculous. But if we're going by that logic, the tournament ending in March of next year does make sense. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and going through, they have some questions, more of some in-universe questions in terms of different characters and their roles, and their I guess their relevance. But really and truly, that does fall back on Toriyama and his decisions. So, and they do make mention of that there, so they can't really say yes or no that X character will become more relevant here or there. So there's that. I mean, you could always read it, and they make mentions and discussions and back and forth in terms of the tone of the show, its target audience. So it really is an interesting, it's a nice read, especially like the parts where they mention that hey, in terms of producing an episode from writing to animation and all of that and storyboarding, it's a 6 month process, and it's pretty insane. I mean, generally, you know, the animation and all of this is it's no easy work. Which, if you complain about the animation, I mean, it's justifiable to say, yo, the animation does fall below a certain standard. I'd say sometimes where Super is concerned, but where you have a weekly series, and it's said time and time again that you're not gonna get the same level of quality for each episode because of the production and how stressful it is. So there's that. Um, they do make mention of Trunks, and they do make mention that the decision to include Battle of Gods and Resurrection F into the TV series was Toriyama's idea. So essentially, I come for people who may not have seen the movies. So there was that as well. I mean, I mean, Consensu and Toriyama, terms basically do summarize and have the essentials of the interview in bullet points here. So, of course, Dragon Ball Super is not ending. They mentioned that the universe survival arc is just heating up. Of course, Dragon Ball Super. We're not sure when it's going to end or how it's going to link up with the end of the manga just yet because Toriyama hasn't decided to really how he's going to end it. The Tournament of Power, our universe survival arc, will go up until March. Toriyama overall just does seem to have a lot of ideas for the world of Dragon Ball, so I doubt Super, or even if Super ends, it does seem to imply that we're gonna be getting a lot of Dragon Ball content in the years to come, which is always a good thing. And of course, additional announcements will come next month, the end of the year. So look out for that. Of course, I'll be doing videos on that. Of course, as I said, I'll link this interview in the description so you can actually read it for yourself. And of course, going back before I kind of cut out here, like them mentioning the ratings and the merchandise sales, it does kind of lead in terms of like pleasing the sponsors and ensuring that things kind of continue on for this series. It does kind of help put the writing and the poor writing choices into perspective. It kind of does add weight to say, yo, we introduced this concept or this decision in terms of writing in the story because it's going to sell. It doesn't necessarily have to make sense. They don't say that, but I don't think anyone could really disagree with that, really and truly, at the end of the day. At least at some level, some of the executives involved are the writing staff in terms of decisions they make, either, well, probably mainly on Toriyama's side, in terms of how the story is handled. Probably not necessarily what happens, but how it happens. Yeah, so there's that. But anyway, Sanjay Uchiha, rate, comment, subscribe. Look out for my review later on Dragon Ball Super episode 100 and what we're at, 14 later tonight. So yeah, rate, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.